Braxton, Marcelo. There's some trusted sources that told me that you guys talk crap about me at CNN, like with this reporter. And so I'm sending you both to Starbase 80 right now. I don't even know if I could call you my friends anymore.
Of all the
No.
places, you choose Starbase 80. I want to
Starbase
go.
80.
I would rather go to the Spice Mountains of Kessel than Starbase 80, or better
Hello,
yet, or
welcome
better yet,
back to
or
another
better yet,
exciting. What's that, Marcel?
send me to Warpente in Starbase 80. I would rather freeze than go to that junk hole. Sorry.
um, Welcome back to another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal, as you saw from that greeting, conversation about Star Trek. Today we're focused on Star Trek Lower Decks, episode 9 of season 3, Trusted Sources. And I am so sorry we are behind. We missed the last two episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks. We weren't here on Sundays, so at some point we'll release those. But just in a nutshell, I'm really enjoying the show, and every episode's been great. So like, there's those other two episodes. The review is very favorable from Starfleet Boy. But we'll go, we'll put them into the record for posterity anyhow at some point. So sorry that happens, but audience, welcome, and it's nice to see some familiar folks in there already. Joel is here, and so is Benjinium, and so is Pi is Eternal. So it's very, very cool that you guys are here. Happy Sunday. Pi says, "Today is cake and pies. No more candy talk." Ha. So, gentlemen, it's so nice to see you, Marcelo. It's so nice to see you on this podcast. You're looking very dapper, by the way. I don't know what's going on over there. Are you slated to go out tonight or something like that?
No, I just decided that today was going to be a good hair day, and it kind of worked that way from the waist down.
Nice, nice. Okay, okay,
So
that took me a second.
Dude, me too. I'm still processing.
Yeah. Is it getting chilly up north? Like, are you guys getting that kind of brisk weather yet?
yeah. It's getting cold here. It's getting cold.
Oh, I'm envious of you. It is not let's see. Yeah, it just crossed 80 degrees here, which is usually we're in the high 90s, like in the mid
I
to
could
high
use 8
90s.
degrees
So,
right now.
yeah, so it's nice. We even feel it downside. Whoa, what is happening? Braxton's getting choked by his cat.
By
Oh
his
my
own
goodness.
cat.
I'm having cat issues.
Well, let's get into the episode. Would one of you gentlemen care to do the summary?
It's
I
not going to
think
be me.
Marcelo.
So
I
it's
think
it.
Marcelo needs to do it. He's like written you from a while.
Yeah. I will have to defer to one of you two. I
All
mean,
right.
I like this episode, but
It's
I can't do
super
it from the
simple
two.
summary, which is Captain Freeman has been like lobbying for this program called Project Swing By, and she finally gets to do it. But they're putting a reporter on. It's like really high profile because like they're gonna put a reporter on to follow her around on the first few missions to see how it goes and report back to the Federation News Network. So Captain Freeman's freaking out because she knows that her ship is not up to, let's just say, Starfleet standards. So she freaks out and she tells all her senior officers, "You better get your departments in order." And then she sees her daughter, who's getting super hyped for a pie eating contest, and she sees her dragon blueberry filling everywhere. And so she's like, "Oh yeah, no." And we also have to put this aside so that no one sees what's going on over here. So she changes our beloved beta shift to like another shift completely, and puts in an alpha shift that no one even knew about. Anyways, this reporter comes on board, and she's getting all these like kind of kind of like uh fake ideas of what goes on the Cerritos. They're like really like hiding all the bad stuff under the rugs, so to speak. And there are rugs on the Cerritos, so that makes sense. Right, there's rugs on the Cerritos. Yeah, there's rugs everywhere. Anyway, or carpet. Anyway, so the reporter gets up, but the Mariner's very persistent that she wants to give the real deal, and Ransom kind of catches her going against orders. Like she finds out she's not on the list to get interviewed and all this stuff, but she goes ahead and does it anyways. Ransom catches her, assumes what's going on, tells Captain Freeman about it, and then when the reporter comes back and starts talking crap about the Cerritos, Captain Freeman assumes that Mariner is the culprit and that she's the one who said all the terrible things that the reporter was citing, and sends her to Starbase 80 and actually almost disowns her as a daughter. It was so bad. And then we find out when the actual report airs that Mariner was the only one who wasn't talking crap. She said, I forget what like the exact wording, but she was like, um, it family's not always like something that you have. You sometimes find your family or whatever, right? And she was like, on the Cerritos, I have both, and it was so sincere and so true and so sweet, and it was like the best thing ever. And she was right. That was like the one report that would have made me at Starfleet if I were like, looking at this, be like, that's a good ship, like look at that, like look at this ensign, how they're talking about Captain Freeman and stuff like that. But nope, Captain Freeman's suspicious mind takes over and does the better of her. So now she's shamed in the fleet. But on top of that, while all that's going on, of course, they encounter the Breen along this Project Swim By thing as they're going back to planets that we've already had, first contact with, and checking in on them. And we check in on Brekka and Ornara. And Starfleet Boy is noticeably quieter. Damn it, I gotta fix my volume on here. Thank you for saying that. I'll try to be closer to the mic. I don't know. Tell me now if I sound better to you guys. Um, but anyways, I also just read Jill's comment about Petra's cleavage. Man, look, all right, we're gonna look. You guys are derailing my awesome summary. I never give summaries, and like the audience is totally like, okay, there's no more cleavage now.
Now I look like a dwarf next to you two. It's like it's like I need a high chair or something.
Can you lower your camera a little bit?
There you go. There you go. I got taller all of a sudden. You're welcome.
Anyway, so where was I? Oh yeah, so Captain Freeman is shamed, and but it's too late. She tries to get Mariner back, but it's too late because Mariner resigned. She did not want to be at Starbase 80. She ends up with Captain Petra Aberdeen, and it's kind of awesome. And so we're all kind of excited to find out what's going to happen next. And well, anyways, now we can talk about it. So yeah, how was that summary? Was it too long? It was like 8 minutes. It's like an 8-minute summary.
Starfleet Boy, I think it was perfect.
Really?
I think that you hit every point.
All right. Audience, do I sound better now? I'm gonna fix my volume here, but Marcelo, why don't you go ahead and start by telling us what you thought of this week's episode?
I really like this episode because I think that Captain Freeman wanted Mariner to be this kind of person and this kind of officer the whole time from the start of the show. But I think that this show also showed that Mariner is still Mariner in her DNA, but she is growing as a person. She's becoming more comfortable with the kind of officer she wants to be. She in this season, it seems to me that her walls are coming down a lot faster than I was expecting. It's just a shame that when her walls come down because of a misunderstanding and because of and because of Carol freaking out at just a simple thing, Mariner loses what she wanted the whole time, which is that artificial family or that stand-in for her real family, the crew of the Cerritos. But also, I loved how the writers sort of dropped the hat on the ground in in writing or in storytelling when you want to when you want to hint at another event and you're doing a TV series, you hint at it slowly, right? You trickle it out like drops of water in storytelling, and this was really trickled out when Mariner and Boimler were doing recruiting for Starfleet on the planet, and we met the space captain pirate lady that Mariner becomes starts to work with at the end of this episode. I would really like it if Mariner stays as this quote unquote space pirate for as long as possible. I am going to like go. I would like it to be maybe until the start of season 2, maybe. Because I think giving Mariner and Carol time apart will make them realize how much they need each other and how much they rely on each other, not as commander and officer, but as mother and daughter. So I think that would be an interesting way to take the story. That might not be the way it's going to go, but that's how I would do it.
Cool. Yeah, I kind of want to see Mariner go off on a side quest for a few episodes, like Boimler did on the Titan. How do I sound any better than before at all? I
I
did
think
some
your audio is
stuff.
good, dude. It is louder
Yeah,
now.
It is
yeah,
louder though. Okay,
your
cool.
audio
I'm
is
just
good.
gonna try to stay as close to the mic as possible. I apologize. It's a weird setup, and then I hope I don't get too excited and talk too loud. But Braxton, we talked about this episode on Twitter Spaces, and that was a really fun discussion on Thursday night. Have you thought about it or watched it again since? And do you have any updates on your thoughts from that?
Unfortunately, I haven't watched it again, except for the first 10 minutes. I tried to sneak in and rewatch today, but then it didn't work out. But I think this is a good episode. Like our conversation and this episode really hit me. I felt like the captain was so cruel to her daughter. But a thing about this show is that this show gives us misdirects. Meaning that like Mariner like stormed off and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell her like what's really happening on this ship," and she had this scowl on her face. And so when it was like, "Oh well, I heard all these bad things about the things that happened on this ship." Well, of course you think it's Mariner because she's like getting unauthorized access to the reporter. Like her mom was like, "Oh, like you're being sneaky, like you're backstabbing, you're difficult to work with." It was like, "Ooh, jab, jab, jab." Um, but yeah, this episode was good. My thoughts really aren't significantly different. I thought that this was a solid episode, not a great one, like some of the ones that have been before it. But I totally enjoyed it though.
Yeah, me too. I also every week have been kind of like saying, "Oh, this is my new favorite episode. This is my new favorite episode." I'm gonna hold out and treat this one as a two-parter because for sure we're gonna, we have one more episode left, so we're gonna get more stuff happening. Unless they do something really weird and go off into a totally different direction, but who knows. I have had a couple of insights come my way, so I can't speculate too much because I think, speaking of trusted sources, I trust the source of these insights. So I am barred, unfortunately, from speculating. But
Dude, what do you have screeners, Starfleet boy?
no, 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 I don't.
Okay.
I just got information, like Section 31 briefings, like that kind of
Mm.
a dossier, that kind of thing.
Mm,
So,
mm.
well, what did you guys think of this whole freak out? Well, what did you think of Captain Freeman in this whole episode? Because folks in the audience, and I think Pies Eternal was talking about it. I think there was way too much character assassination of Freeman just to get Mariner off the ship for a short arc. And then Pi goes on to say, my least favorite Lower Decks episode so far. Still has some great pie eating jokes, though. And thanks for acknowledging the mic check there, Joel. That's cool. Yeah, so what did you think of how do you feel about like what happened with Captain Freeman in this episode, and like what do you think about her this whole season, as a matter of fact, since we're so close to the finale right now? You can go first, Braxton.
Captain Freeman is a woman who goes from 0 to 100 like super fast. Like I feel like she flies off the handle a lot in these three seasons. Um, but you know, she obviously loves her daughter. We've seen some of her actions in the past. Like on her desk, she had that picture of Mariner like on her desk. You know. Um, I mean, she loves her daughter.
Yeah,
I
she
think
did
that
have that picture on
sometimes,
her desk. It's true.
I feel like sometimes, when you're angry, you can say things that are really cruel in the moment. And we saw at the end that she was trying to contact her and like apologize and try to bring her back. But she was already gone. So I mean, I feel like if uh, what she did fits with her character. Um, yeah, I think it fits.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree that like Captain Freeman and Mariner like I think they've been on edge this whole season, right? Remember she was like she put him in Ransom's hands in the beginning. So it didn't feel like it felt sad though that she overreacted that way. Like that's something
Mhm.
she's got to do work on. Marcella, what about you? Any thoughts on her freakouts?
I feel that this Carol's reaction in this episode is pretty much consistent with her character. But the other thing that I think Carol is failing to see here is that Mariner is getting better as an individual and as a Starfleet officer. So I think Carol is looking at Mariner through Mariner of season 1 and season
Right.
2, that officer that would buck against the system just because she can.
But look
But
at this, Marcelo. Like you're about to get this fancy schmancy reporter come on your ship, right? And look, there's like blue pie tracks on the ground. She's got blue on her uniforms.
right,
There's blue in the turbo lift.
right. I understand that. I understand that. But Carol,
Sorry, I'm just teasing, but you know what I mean. Carry
yeah,
on.
I do. Carol has to get Carol has to get to a point where she needs to understand that when the cameras are off, Mariner is going to be Mariner, but when it really counts, Mariner is going to project that image that Carol wants and Mariner wants secretly in her
Yeah.
soul.
Yeah,
And
she was so true in that moment. So genuine and like sweet in that interview. It's true.
if she took 1 second before she bounced off the wall, like Braxton said, I think this whole situation would have been avoidable and we would have gotten something else. Also, I've been really curious to see what the driving force of the season is going to be, or quote unquote, what the big bad of the season
Right.
is going to be. And you know what? I know you have spies everywhere, but I don't think we're gonna get a big bat. I don't think we're gonna get a like a big pew pew battle at the end of the season. I think the big bad is the situation between Carol and Mariner. I think that's it. So I think this season is about family dynamics and how Carol and Mariner are going to come to an understanding with each other and how they're going to learn to trust each other moving forward in the series. I think that's what it is.
That's really cool. I like that. Pie's Eternal says on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it that the Badmiral is working with Peanut Hamper? So I guess Jill's assuming. Let's talk about the. Do you guys want to skip to the Texas class? I forgot to mention it in my summary. I didn't give it I didn't really give it much of a thought.
Dude, we
Oh,
can't
yeah.
jump all the way
Okay,
to
okay, we
Peanut.
won't jump there yet. We'll talk about the Texas class when we get
But
Valerie
there.
we
must like
should
that one.
but we should acknowledge the very cool technology that is her camera.
Right.
I hate that cameramen have been put out of work um in the 24th century.
Uh, hold on. Let me come up here. Yes, I hate it too. Isn't that cute how you can like peek over this graphic? Okay. By the way, this is true. Jörg on Twitter, he posts really cool observations and details and connections, and just like he does like a lot of work analyzing Star Trek. And he posts a lot of interesting things that like I'm always learning something. So apparently, reporter females in Star Trek have always worn Leah Brahms costumes, like, you know, the same costume, just like reused, right? So this was a design, I don't think it was ever used on screen, but this was a design for a Leah Brahms costume. So the reporter is in fact wearing Leah Brahms unused, or you know, a technically unused costume. So that's a really deep dive. That's very cool. I feel like at this point Mike McMahon and company do it for Jurg. Like they put these things in just to see if he'll find he'll find them. Because there's no way I would have ever even thought of that. It's a really extraordinary connection. But yeah, it's very cool. Just goes to show how cool his mind works in
Do
that
you
sense.
think do you think at this time that fashion is highly commoditized, meaning like people like shop at Macy's or they like wear these brands, or because the replicator makes clothes, like people's clothes are really different, or maybe there's like the same designs in the replicator.
From what I've seen, at least on Star Trek, like no two people ever seem to have the same civilian clothes. Like you don't really see like people wearing like the Gap type stuff, you know? So I think everything's bespoke, but it could be like ordered through a replicator. Like remember when they went shopping in that one episode? Was it TNG or was it DS9? And they went to like, and there was oh, it might have been TNG. Like Worf replicates like a bear or a teddy bear or something. I forget like what it was exactly, but there's like a mall. I bet there's like a catalog, and you look through it and you just pick what you want, and it
Mm.
replicates it. What else is cool about the future though is that everything is bespoke and can be tailored exactly to your body type. So everyone looks good and very couture. I feel like they stepped off a runway in the future. That's a good thing to think about. What about you, Marcel? What do you think about fashion in the future?
Yeah, I think, I think fashion in the future with with the fact that they have replicators now, I just think that there are so many options that that's why no one person dresses alike, because with so many options, an individual can dress the way that they want. Whether they want to have tailored clothes or whether they want to look a little raggedy, I think it's all down to personal preference, which is a good thing.
Very cool. What did you guys think of the reporter? What was her name? It was something like news. I can't remember at the moment. Oh, I wrote it down, but I can't find my note.
FNN.
Yeah, but what did
Was-
you think of her, the character? Do you think she was a good reporter, or do you think she was a little shady?
No, I think that she was a good reporter. Again, I think the crux of this episode and the way that it was structured was this episode relied on Carol overreacting to the situation. If Carol didn't overreact to the situation, we would have gotten none of the drama between between her and Mariner, and the episode could have worked, but it wouldn't have been as good.
I don't have a positive impression of the reporter. She totally did a gotcha with Captain Freeman toward the end, and kind of like was leading her toward falling, toward like you know, like she
She kind of like
said
egged
the
her on, like
reaction.
she like made
Yeah,
it like kind of created a situation for her to like a stressful situation basically for
she
her.
totally could have been like, oh, you know what? Like the only one on here who respects you is actually your daughter. She had such a lovely, glowing words for you. Meanwhile, like your staff just like said kind of nice things, but then they totally like dragged you and talked about like all this crazy stuff that happens on this ship. She could have been more straightforward, but I feel like she was trying to get a reaction. She was like doing what a reporter does. So like I don't like that reporter, but I love her camera.
Yeah, but
I wish that I had one of those.
I do agree with you, Braxton. I completely agree with you. But if you go, if you go that way, it's completely on Carol to judge the situation correctly and not lose her shit like she did. So
Oh my
yeah,
God. Starfleet, well,
yeah,
all the beefcake, goodness gracious, is drawing my
yeah,
eye. Like I have to block it.
yeah. So
Um,
uh,
okay, but Marcelo, look at what else Carol's stressing everyone out because she cancels the pie eating contest. And by the way, that pie looks delicious, and it seems like I know it's being
yeah, strawberry.
it's a I think it's no, it's blueberry pie.
Oh, blueberry pie. Ooh, I like blueberry pie. Oh my god,
Yeah.
they canceled blueberry pie day.
They
No.
did.
Ah,
And I know
ah.
it's being recycled, like it's going back into the replicator system, but it looks like they're just throwing it away. And I've seen this kind of stuff happen, and it's just like
Ah!
it's awful, right?
Ruff the Fur's reaction was priceless. It was completely overblown, but it was
I love that
priceless.
he rips his shirt. That's like
No.
the best part of it. He's just like, stun me.
Do you think they still refrigerate food uh
No, I think
like
they just put it
in
back
this
in the
era?
replicator, and that no, not at all. Because there's no refrigerators. There's just you just go and you ask for like a dish, and it creates the dish for you. Now, I
Mm,
do think that all ships do have galleys and like reserve like situations. Like
mhm,
plus they have
Emergency
like
rations.
rations, emergency rations and things like that.
mm,
So
Military.
mm,
I imagine though in the future, like food storage is way better than it is today. Like, I imagine that like any kind of like food that they're storing is frozen or put into stasis even to keep it fresh. Like, so that salmon, it's put in stasis rather than frozen. So it's always going to be like perfect. That first contact day salmon. But yeah, this is I was like so mad at Captain Freeman for canceling Pi Day.
mm.
Let's see what's going on here in the chat. Reporters on sci-fi shows are usually not a positive development. Yeah, it's true.
Mm.
Let's see. And like it's hard to find good reporters that. Do you think Barbara Walters ever pulled that kind of stuff? Do you think she pulled stunts like that?
I'm sure that Barbara Walters did a gotcha on somebody, dude. Like she's interviewed so many people. I'm sure she had to
It's
at some
true.
point.
She reminded me the character reminded me a little bit of Lois Lane, like in the Man of
Mm,
Steel movies. What's her name? Amy McAdams, is it right? Or
mm.
A-
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams, not McAdams. That's another Amy.
No, yeah, yeah. Amy Adams.
Let's see. What did Linda say? That would be awesome. What if this is all a setup to catch the Badmiral, hence the out of control behavior of Freeman overreacting? Oh, that's an interesting thought. Um, let
That's
me see.
interesting, but if I I wouldn't be happy with that because that would undercut the whole emotional through line for this episode by my view, and that would just make me angry.
But we all agree then, I guess, that Admiral Buenamigo is actually no Buenamigo, right? Not Buenamigo.
Mhm, mhm.
Interesting,
I didn't
interesting.
see it until this episode.
Yeah, I was really a fan of his too. I'm kind of worried, but we'll see. Uh, there was a Stargate SG-1 episode like that where it was all set up and it was hard for close friends to forgive being set up. Yeah, Mariner really hurts in this episode. By the way, this montage was really funny with just like the different reporters and like how the different crew members being interviewed, and it was really kind of funny. I like the recording screen as L cars, and it has a little recording dot and stuff like that. And there's even a microphone that flies around. But the whales really crack me up. I love the cetacean ops characters. I think that's one of the best things in Star Trek, and I love whenever we see Matt and Camulo. I think that's his name. I can't remember. Sorry, other whale. I only remember Matt. I remember Matt because of our friend Matt. Who shout out to Matt, by the way. But Mariner's pissed, and so that's when she kind of like. It's true. They kind of set you up to believe that she is gonna say something
Hmm.
because she's really mad about
Like,
stuff
look at
over
her
here.
eyes, dude.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, like I'll show them. Like, like I don't know. Like, I was expecting her to maybe have like a more like casual looking face. Like, maybe because she like stormed off. So you totally thought it's like, oh, like I'm gonna like give them hell.
Right.
So like, but yeah, like this show does those kinds of
Fake
misdirect.
outs. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
fake out.
Marcelo, what'd you think of coming back to Ornara?
It was cool. It was funny. It was cool.
Did you remember
It
that
was.
episode of TNG?
Uh, I kind of did, but I kind of did it. But I remembered the cliff notes. I had the cliff notes in my head, and it was
Nice.
kind of cool. It was kind of cool to have Freeman go down to this planet and figure out that these people don't need her help. That was like an insult to injury for me. So that only exacerbated her frustration, which I really really liked.
Look, you
Um,
guys, I stitched together the mural from 3 different shots that they show in the episode, and it fits pretty
Oh
nicely.
wow, dude, that
Hmm.
looks great, dude. That's awesome.
Skills.
I
How
really
they
want
Skills.
this.
transform them.
I really want this mural. Like, there's like you can see this long painting that I have back here in my quarters here. So I would love to have have this mural on the opposite wall. It might be a really fun fun thing. Joel, I did put it on Twitter. You can go and check out my tweet. Um, but yeah, I love the Ornarans. I thought it was great that they had this crazy experience in the last 17 years, but that they climbed out of it and now they live in like kind of a utopian fitness based society. And I also like that they were like, nah, we don't need your help, Starfleet. We're good. See you later.
Jack would be at home on this planet. Fitness all day long. Got to get my reps, man. Got to get the reps. Yeah.
But here she calls Admiral Bonamigo, and this is kind of where like I started getting like weirded out by him when he was just like when they're like trying to find things to report on, and he's like, oh, she's like recommending the Landru planet, like she didn't even think of Brekka, and he's like, go to Brekka, and then when they get to Brekka, there's Breen there, so it feels like it was a setup kind of a little bit, so that he could show off the glorious Texas class starship later on. But yeah, and then this is the kind of again that fake out where you see from Ransom's perspective, we're we're seeing Mariner, and she does look shady. Look at her, she's like leaning on the door, she's got like side eye going on, like you don't know that she's gonna go in there and say the sweetest damn things that you could ever hear. But anyways, the other thing that was really funny was there's so many good gags in this episode, I thought. And this was one of the best ones where Mariner walks in very confident that she's like the best and that her mom saw the interview and is gonna like just be like, oh, you did so great. And everyone on the cruise just giving her this like dirty looks. Yeah, I loved all this. This was funny. It was funny, but it was also heartbreaking. I don't know about you guys, but I cried like a stupid kid. I felt so bad for Mariner.
Dude, even Jennifer turned her back on her,
I
dude.
know. Would you guys like forgive like your this crew? Like I could kind of understand why Mariner is like bye, forget it.
Like the
No,
only
I
people who
mean,
were mean to her were her friends, dude.
What's that?
no.
Oh no, I was just saying the only people that weren't mean to her is her friends.
Right, but
Like,
even
they're concerned.
Boimler, I was mad though because even Boimler was like, "Oh, just apologize." Even if you didn't do it, like I don't know. It was just like no one came to bat for her. I felt. What were you gonna say, Marcelo?
No, but I think this whole situation really is a precursor to show how much Mariner. I mean, I'm gonna say until I'm blue in the face on the stream.
You really love
Um,
her character arc in this
yeah, yeah.
in this show.
I
It's
think
awesome.
I think this whole thing. I mean, look, it could go the way you guys are saying, and some people in the audience are saying. It could be a giant fake out to figure out who the Dadmiral is. But again, for me, that would undercut the emotional growth that I feel that the writers gave Mariner in this episode. She just, you know, had enough, and didn't want to placate her mother anymore and her friends anymore, and decided to go her own way for her own reasons.
I don't know
And
that I'm trying to understand. Like, you think that like what is it that you think would undercut their arc? Is if Mariner's
because
doing what?
because if this whole thing is a setup to find the like if there's a bad Dadmo,
Oh,
right?
you think Mariner and Freeman are in league and they're just
Yeah,
like faking all this
yeah,
out?
yeah.
Like that's
If
the
yeah,
thing. Oh, I don't
yeah.
think anyone. I don't know if I think that. I don't know if that's
Okay,
gonna be
okay,
the
okay.
case. Yeah.
But if that happens, well, I don't know if that's going to happen. But if that does happen, I will be just a little peeved because again, I think the wedge that they have put between Carol and Mariner in this episode is so intriguing, and I would love for it to get wider,
Be in
and
the moment,
for
Marcelo. Don't think about the what ifs, man. I'm just kidding.
yeah, no, yeah, no,
No, I'm
but
teasing.
but essentially, I like this episode not for the comedy. I like this episode for the drama aspects, which isn't really the way that I look about Lower Decks, which isn't the way that I normally approach Lower Decks. But this is like an episode that I've been waiting for, and I just hope that the writers don't do certain things with Mariner. But if they do, it's okay. It's okay. I appreciate the attempt.
You're really caught up on how it's gonna end. That ending. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. How's it ending?
Well,
You
I
know
don't
the
know. I don't know a lot, but I can't speculate, so I'll recuse myself from this part of the conversation. But Braxton, what were you gonna say?
Mhm. No, someone who is a loose cannon doesn't fit well into the structure of the military. Being able to follow directions and ignore your personal interests and wants is like a huge thing about being in the military. So we have seen from Mariner since season one that she doesn't necessarily want to always be with the program. And when you don't want to be with the program, that means that, you can't like always play where you want to. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her strike out and do something. I feel like Mariner and what's the woman's name again, dude?
Petra Aberdeen, Captain
And
Aberdeen.
Petra.
Yeah.
I feel like whatever their adventure is gonna like lead them toward our bad Admiral, and his plot is gonna be revealed by them.
Oh, okay. I see. I see. Like not like. Okay. Interesting.
That could
Interesting.
work. That could work from a narrative perspective. I like that, Braxton. High marks. Yeah,
You
that
saved
totally could work.
Marcelo's anxiety. He was feeling really anxious. He is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
That totally could
he
work.
he
Yeah,
gave
that
him
could work.
something to think about. I like it. Starbase 80. We've been hearing about Starbase 80 for a while now, and it's the worst place, and it certainly looks like it is. What'd you guys think of the whole Starbase 80 stuff? All these gags.
So
That was
we
just
didn't
funny.
get enough of Starbase 80, and then also, I feel like Starbase 80, like it's an allocation of resources problem, dude. Why do they have such old, shitty technology, dude? That's Starfleet.
Why? That's true.
That is Starfleet's problem, dude. Like, dude, they literally have a Rolodex at Starfleet at Starbase 80, dude. Like, oh my gosh, a Rolodex, dude.
uh, Pi says they kind of did all this with Burnham, and it was frustrating to me that they were still making her a misfit in Starfleet all the way into season 3. Interesting. What do
No,
you
well,
think?
Mm.
well, Burnham. Well, I have so many issues with Burnham that I need to go into 60 years of therapy. But
Wow. Wow.
well,
60.
hold
Talk
up,
about hyperbolic. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
hold up. With that being said, the one thing that I really, really appreciated with Burnham's characterization throughout the seasons is that the writers, if they did one thing right, they did a lot of things right, but the one thing that they did right that I loved is that they made her work for it. They made her suffer. They made her go through hell or high water to become the captain that she is. So because of everything that she went through, I thought when she finally got a chance to sit in the chair, I thought that was the most satisfying part. And I would really be interested to see if Mike McMahon is going to do a slight lower decks sort of remix on Burnham's story arc as a character, but do it, Beckett Mariner style.
I like that. Joel says Starbase 80 gets what it deserves.
Yeah, Starbase 80. Starbase 80 is like the cousin of the Starfleet family that we don't necessarily like, but we have to deal with. But we just want to lock them away in like a closet or something, and just feed them every once in a while. That is what. That's what Starbase 80 looks like to me. It's like these are the outcasts. We acknowledge that they exist, but we really don't want to
Poor Starbase 80, yeah.
Deal with them anymore. So that's why they get the Rolodex.
It's the last stop for you. Starbase 80 is like the last stop before like you leave Starfleet, because Starfleet doesn't want to have like they want to have a good firing rate, right? So they're like, we'll just send you to Starbase 80, you'll quit. So it's voluntary instead of
Starbase 80. Starbase 80 is essentially involuntary retirement.
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
Oh.
Linda brings up a good point. I forgot to mention this earlier. I hope that reconciliation will take more than just an apology, except for Jennifer. Don't take Jennifer back. What do you guys think? Are you guys done with Jennifer too, or do you think Mariner should stick with Petra and pursue that, if there is a romantic interest there at all? Anyways, I'm just always shipping everyone, so that's just me.
I think the situation with Jennifer is different. I think that Jennifer has been influenced by other members of the crew and isn't really.
That was pretty mean what Jennifer said to her, right? Like she pushed her off in that scene, and she was just it was kind of.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think the reason that she did that is I think that she's being influenced by other members of the crew. I don't think that she's had enough time to process how she really feels about Mariner. So I think twofold. If when Beckett Mariner not being on the ship will give Carol a chance to process her feelings about her daughter, and it will possibly give Jennifer a chance to really figure out if she truly loves Mariner for the individual that she is, or if she's just with Mariner just to be with her.
Mariner's not going to take her back.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, which would I mean, come on. We all know that. Even I know.
Dude, she asked Jennifer, like, "Oh, like, believe me, like, I didn't."
I know.
And Jennifer was like, instead of being like, "Oh, babe," she was just like, "Oh no, girl, like, you gone too far."
Yeah. Even I know that the one person on the panel who's trying to take Lower Decks too seriously for this episode, but I just think it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens to Mariner on her adventures with the space pirate woman.
I kind of agree with our friend Aaron Harvey here, Geek Filter. Jennifer's friends should have been a hint to her real personality. Becca deserves better. I think Becca needs to push Jennifer out of the way. Move over, Jennifer. Jennifer being so influenced by other crew members is a red flag for being with an individualist like Mariner. Yeah. Yeah, I'm done with Jennifer too. I do kind of like, I don't want to ship everyone. You shouldn't do it,
Uh,
but I kind of do want there to be romantic stuff with Captain Aberdeen. So yeah, hopefully we get some of that for me personally.
Dude, I think that they're just going to be friends, and I think that Mariner is going to end up with Boimler, dude. I like Mariner and Boimler.
Aw, that's sweet. I don't think so. I don't know. That would be really interesting. I mean, you would be marrying your best friend, and I feel like that's never a bad thing, right? Like you should consider it if there's chemistry there. But I don't know. They seem like brother and sister to me. They
Hmm.
seem a little too familiar in that sense. But I could see, maybe. Hmm. That's a good question.
Ransom.
No, well, I was seeing a little bit
Well,
of Ransom, but I don't see it
okay.
anymore. Yeah, I was
All
starting to
right.
see it.
Well, yeah. Again, I'm going to postulate my ridiculous theory, but
Okay.
essentially, she's out of Starfleet now, so it's not a problem anymore.
Oh,
Of
that's
Mm,
course,
true.
the
That's
of
right.
true.
course
Mhm.
the age thing might bother some folks, but
But
she's
they
out of
can't be that
Starfleet
far
now.
apart in age. I feel like Mariner's probably like 22, 23, right? Is that what
And
we're
Rand,
thinking? Do we
I
know
yeah.
feel
their
like
ages?
Ransom is like I feel like Ransom's like 40.
Oh, really?
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, to be
He
a
looks
first officer,
great.
I feel like you have to have like 20
No.
years of service, dude.
I think Carol is in her 40s, like in her mid 40s, early 50s, maybe.
Yeah. I
And I
would.
think Ransom's probably in his 30s, like
Yeah.
35.
Okay.
Maybe he could be pushing 38, but I think he's like 35.
No,
Okay.
I would actually put him
This
around
is
like 30,
hilarious. We're talking about
33.
their
33. See,
ages.
see, this is ridiculous. We are talking about cartoons. I'm trying to I'm trying to rationalize this as a serious character study, and now we're talking about ages. What are we doing?
We're really getting into the gossipy parts of Star Trek
Yeah, what
Lower
are we
Decks. Where
doing?
it's like, how old are they? How old do you think they are? Is this like a spring summer
Yeah,
like, oh no, what is it called? A winter summer
a
romance or
winter
something?
summer romance
Winter
thing.
spring romance, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on acting Captain Miglimo?
Oh, he's just all sorts of fun.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah,
funny with his Mima.
Miglimo is all just all sort of fun. Mima, what the like, it's like, yeah. I just but I was really disappointed that when Carol came in, she didn't say Captain Mima, what the f, and just because that's something that Carol would say, but I think she didn't say it because the cameras were on. So
She does say what the f later on about the she's like, what the f just happened when we find out about the Texas class.
right.
This is Brecca, and it looks pretty cool. It also looks like Space Miami or Space LA, which we got on Andor. So that's interesting that we got two of these like
Mm.
tropical-ish kind of landscapes. And
Dude, I didn't know you were watching Andor.
yeah,
Of course it
I
is.
caught up. I
Oh
caught up to
wow.
Andor. Yeah, I'm watching Andor.
Oh wow. We have to talk about it.
I really, yeah, sure. We'll talk about it on Starfleet Boy After Dark, folks. But I really dig the purple sky on Brecca. What did you guys like? This kind of purpley sky, this kind of vibe. What do you guys think?
When I first saw it, I thought maybe it was air pollution, but
Oh,
like yeah, I don't know. It's like
I'm
it could
sorry.
just be like um, different like particles and things in this atmosphere. But at first, when I looked at, I was like, ooh, like that like purple haze, like ooh, like must be bad.
Oh my
didn't they
god.
have like the ability to like shoot? One of them, the Onarans or the Breckons, could shoot electricity. It was the Onarans, I think. Maybe they both could. They could. They were like electric eel people. I forgot about that, which we didn't actually see. Well, we saw it in the mural, I guess, when they went nuts on each other. But, so, but this is sad. This is the only Brecken we see, and she gets vaporized like right away. And then we get the return of the Breen, uh, which was pretty awesome. These guys are badass. I really like the Breen. I said this before. I'm gonna say it again. I think that the Breen are an awesome would be an awesome new bad guy like the Pakleds were. I think there's a lot of opportunities for them to be both
No, you did
badass and
not.
funny.
You did
No,
not compare the Packlets to the Breen. Really?
no, I'm saying like you know how
I'm
like
going
we've
home
been.
right now.
They're not like the They're not like the same, but like I think there's the same There's a lot of great opportunities for humor, but also badassery around the Breen because
Right.
they are pretty badass, you know. So I think
Right.
they're the opposite of the Packleds in the sense that they're
Right.
very cunning and intelligent,
Right.
you know.
Right. The Packlets are just absurd.
But they're funny because they have that like in indistinguishable like language. They have like there's just like the mask. They never take off their masks. Like there's a lot of opportunities, and we got a glimpse of that in this episode with the space battle and like the battering thing and all that stuff. So I think they could be a pretty cool thing for Lower Decks to play with.
Right.
How many more episodes do we have this season? Is it only one?
Just one
One
more,
more.
yeah. So
Yeah.
this week on Thursday we're getting not only the season 3 finale of Lower Decks, but the season 1 part 2 premiere of Prodigy. I'm really excited. So it's gonna be a big conversation this week that we're gonna have. We're probably going to move Starfleet Boys discussion on YouTube to Thursday for this week because Starfleet Boy has some engagements next Sunday in the morning or in the early afternoon. So I'll be still doing the Trek Central stream that day, but won't be doing this stream on Sunday. So stay tuned for an announcement on Twitter on that. But what did you all think of the Breen? Marcelo, I'm sure you were excited to see them.
It's really, it was really cool to see them again. And, in a way, they're like, Mandalorians because they never take their helmets off. Yeah, it was just really cool to see them again. It was really cool. And if they go down the road that I think they're going to go down in reference to a story, I would be okay with the Breen being the big bad that lead into next season.
Very cool. Jill points out these Breen are just exterminating people. What do they want on the planet? Exterminate and repopulate? Like the Breen are kind of mysterious, as Fathery kind of pointed out their motivations, but they're basically marauders, I guess. Like they just go around kind of taking territory where they can and stuff. I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched DS9, and that's where the Breen are really kind of fleshed out.
Me too. I don't really remember the Breen very well. But when I saw that young lady vaporize, I thought like, ooh, steak. Like, what did that?
Oh yeah,
And
it
then,
gets serious. Like Lower Decks also seems to do that every season, right? Like we had that one California class get blowed up, remember, by the
hmm
Packlet ship, and that was like pretty harsh with that cool captain that wore socks on the on the I forgot her name. Oh, I
That
loved
shows you
her.
never wear socks on the bridge ever again, or you're going to be vaporized.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
it got
dude,
heavy. It's true.
but it was such a savage attack. Like I was thinking when they came under attack, I was like, didn't they scan for like ships or anything? I mean, there are three. Like, shouldn't they before they beam down? Like, shouldn't they have scanned and saw those three Breen ships? I don't know, dude. I guess it's like convenient, like lower decks plot point.
Well,
But
if
I
they
was
were
like, yeah.
hiding, they could have been hiding in the poles or something like that. The Breen might have some like good technology to hide themselves or whatever. But yeah, I mean that happens on TNG though all the time too, where they beam down and they didn't know that there were life signs, and suddenly
Mm.
they're like I don't want to hold I personally won't hold it against that. But you're right, it is. Lower Decks is not going to always explain stuff, and they don't need to, as far as I'm concerned. Like
Mhm.
that's Upper Decker stuff. We
But we
want
did
to.
see, we did hear in that reporter has been like behind battle lines before. Like when they came under fire, she was like, "Ooh, like yeah, I haven't been under fire since like this
the
time
the
when
Dominion
something else
War. Yeah,
happened."
yeah, it
Yeah.
was true. That's true. Uh, Aaron says the Breen helmet was an homage to the mask Leia was wearing in Return of the Jedi. Yeah, no, yeah, no. I think it's Yato Yate or Yato Yato. I forget, but I believe so. That's as close to the Mandalorian as Trek is going to get. Yeah, the Breen helmet definitely looks like Princess Leia's bounty hunter helmet in Jedi. So yeah, I always thought that too. But yeah, so I think that this battle was pretty awesome though. It was pretty uh the stakes, talking about the stakes, right? Like the Cerritos was getting pretty beat up. She gets beat up a lot too by the
I
poor
mean, I feel like
Cerritos.
people died in that attack, dude.
Yes,
Like those
yes,
people
those
look like they were like
explosions.
engulfed in flames, dude.
It's
Exactly.
true.
That's what you want with good Star Trek. You want good Star Trek to be entertaining and funny to a point. You want like 50-50, right? And
I think it
that's
just
why.
depends on the story, but yeah, this story
Right.
definitely, fell into the more, it got
Yeah.
serious real quick
Yeah. No, it's
thing, yeah.
I mean that's why I really love Lower Decks, because I could just turn on Lower Decks and just watch it the same way that I do my beloved TNG. And look, I love modern Star Trek, but with a lot of modern Star Trek, I can't do that because I feel that modern Star Trek requires my attention. And Lower Decks requires my attention, but it's a much easier journey with Lower Decks than with a lot of other Star Trek.
Hmm. But you can just zone out and not pay attention to the details
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
Lower Decks.
I can like these guys with the Lower Decks people. I feel that I can hang out with them. I can hang out with them. I can have fun, and I can talk about some serious stuff too. But if I wanted to have like a cocktail with Michael Burnham and her crew, I would be like a little bit concerned, and I wouldn't be so
What are you talking
relaxed.
about? They have that beautiful lounge on the Discovery, and they
Yeah,
have craft cocktails with like whiskeys from all over
yeah,
the different quadrants in the galaxy, and
yeah,
like,
but I am, yes, but where I'm coming from is a point of structure and the overall feeling of the show as an audience member, right? When you watch Discovery, Discovery is like the best roller coaster ride you've ever been on. Lower Decks is like a cool walk through the park,
I
if
want
that
the
makes
roller
any sense.
coaster ride and the walk through the park, Marcelo. I want it all.
All right,
I don't want one or the other.
all
I
right,
want it all. I want that
all
roller.
right.
Give me that roller coaster, and then afterwards, let's hold hands and walk in the park with Lower
All right.
Decks. It's
Dude,
All
hell
all
right.
yeah,
good.
dude, hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But Marcelo, just to kind of like bring up a really good point, which is, something that's never happened before, is that for the first time there's like so many different flavors of Star Trek to like tune into,
Mhm.
that like I know you watch everything because you have to, because you feel like you
Yeah.
have to report on it in a sense, like,
I do.
you're a YouTuber and stuff like that. But for many people, if they're not vibing with one show, they've got another Star Trek show
That's true.
to watch and stuff like that. So that's actually a really great
It's like ice cream.
thing. Yeah, yeah, it's like ice cream. It's true. I'm lucky. I'm enjoying every show. Some shows, obviously, I enjoy more than others, but like so far, to me, it feels like
Picard.
I'm. It feels. I love. Yeah, Picard's like that
Yeah.
icing. It's so delicious. Like
Yeah.
I keep scraping that icing off the cake, and then I'm like, oh wait, now I can dive into that Star Trek cake, and there's so many more
Yeah.
things going on. There's,
Yeah.
and then there's a little bit of like bursting candy at the bottom, and that's like Lower Decks. Like, it just surprises you. It gives you that last little flavor.
Yeah.
But I think a sentiment that I see a lot among folks, and I try to kind of adhere to that. We can definitely have live streams where we compare all the modern treks, and rank which ones we each think is better, and see if there's a consensus to that. But I've been noticing, and I kind of like this. If I were just a casual viewer, I would feel the same way. It's like, maybe maybe if you're not like enjoying a show, don't go on someone else's timeline and tweet about it. Like when they're like celebrating, you tweet about how you
Yeah.
hated it. Just tweet about how you hated it on your own timeline. But
You
that
know,
being
or
said, here,
you know,
Marcel, I'm
or
not
do-
saying
or
you can't you
right.
can't here. You can certainly give your opinion. That's totally welcome.
No, or just look, you know how I feel about Picard, but I'm not going to take away your joy for Picard, because entertainment is subjective. Entertainment is the most subjective thing that we have as a society. So the way that I view something is completely different than the way Braxton views it, and it's completely different than Starfleet Boy views it. But as individuals, nobody should nobody should kill someone's excitement for something just because they didn't like it. That's just being that's just being a bad person for being a bad person.
I
Nobody
think
wants to
it's
hang
just
around with that guy.
Yeah, I think it's just like sorry if this is a boring sidebar for some of you folks. We'll get right back to Lower Decks, I
Yeah,
promise.
we'll
But
get right back to that.
but I think it's a good thing to talk about because I think like etiquette and netiquette and all these things are things that folks used to talk about. Maybe I think
Right.
we'll do a special stream about this topic if anyone's interested. We'll show up. But anyways, back to Lower Decks. The Alito shows up and it's a badass ship. It like makes mincemeat out of the Breen ships basically, and leaves them on the run, and is able to, or actually no, it destroys all three, right? Yeah, it destroyed all three. And here's Admiral Buenamigo saying like, guess what? This was an awesome opportunity to test out my brand new ship. It's gonna totally, it's gonna totally like put all other ships in the California class to shame, and we don't need manned ships anymore. And so here we go. But I thought this elevated this episode to a new level, like where it kind of like brought in a new interesting topic about like AI and automation and like humans. I guess humans, humans in dangerous situations. What are you laughing about?
Oh, all I could think about when he said AI, I'm like, God, no, please don't do control.
It's
Please don't do
control, I
control.
think.
No,
I
oh man, really? But you know what?
don't know.
But you know what? My beloved Lower Decks wouldn't do that to me. They wouldn't do that to me. If they were going to do that, they would make fun of it, which they're not going to do. But they wouldn't do that to me.
The reporter's super interested, and she immediately her attention goes to Admiral Buenamigo, and I love that Captain Freeman's like, "What the fuck just happened? Sorry, beep." and Ransom's like, "Well, hey, if it weren't for us, no one would have known that the Breen had taken over Brekka. So there's that. So it's gonna end up being good, but it ends up not being good." Victoria, that's her name. Victoria News does this piece, a hit piece, basically on Captain
Mhm.
Freeman, and yeah, it was harsh. But this is where I started losing it, where I started just like bawling tears and stuff like that.
Shame,
Look at
shame.
Beckett's face. Look at her face. She's like so sweet. Look at the lighting on her and everything. It was just like but I thought her friends were really sweet in that scene. Also feeling a little bit bad, I think, that they didn't like do more. And then of course Captain Freeman is just like really sad,
Oh,
and
she says out
she
longingly,
tries.
like,
Yeah,
mhm,
it was
Yeah.
a good moment. I like this.
mhm. It was a good moment.
And then the episode ends with Mariner showing up on the Free Spirit with Captain Aberdeen, and going out on an adventure to go doing archaeology stuff. And I'm excited to see what happens next week. Let's see what's going on in the audience, and I guess we can go into some final thoughts and give a rating on this episode. But I'll go first, and I'll just say that this episode is a 10. It's a solid 10 for me. It's just a sweet episode. It was very nice. It almost felt like it could have been like a season finale, so I'm excited that we're getting one more episode next week. So yeah, that's mine. You go next there, Braxton.
So I would give this episode a 7, but because it took a big swing at the end, I'm gonna give it a 10 also. This was one of so I feel like the last few episodes have just been very, very good. This one just felt a little bit flat for me. Um, but Mariner is now out there. We've actually seen some of the Starbase 80. So like, I kind of thought that the episode wasn't like great, but then it did some bigger things at the end that ups my points for it. So I give it a 10.
Yeah,
Marcelo.
for yeah. Well, um, as is my role, I'm gonna screw with the average here in just a second. But for all the reasons I stated throughout the stream, I really like the emotional tether of this episode between Carol and Mariner the most, and I'm really interested to see how the Lord X writers are going to unravel that and how that could possibly play into the final episode that we have coming next week. So, with all that being said, I thought this episode was a really, really, really fun time. And here we go. Here's why I screw with everything. My grade or my number for this episode would be a 14. I love this episode.
Oh my God. Oh my
Dang.
God, Marcelo. Wow.
Dang,
There
a
you go.
14.
That's putting a wrench in
Just
everything.
for anyone tuning in for the first time who were expecting our ratings to be more like
No.
kind of objective.
No, we don't do that.
They're not, they're very silly ratings. They don't make any sense.
Yeah, we
It's
don't
whatever
do
the
that.
gut
Starfleet
is,
Boy,
and
I
I
have a
give
quick
everything a 10. What's
Yeah,
that?
we don't do that.
Starfleet Boy, do you think that they're going to end this season on a cliffhanger like next week?
I
Ew.
don't know what I think, Braxton.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, oh, oh,
yeah. Well, you
oh.
do know what you.
I
Marcelo,
don't
what about you? What do
know.
you think?
Yeah, Marcelo, what do you
I
think?
I don't think so. I would really like it if they did though, but I don't think so. I think that they're going to wrap up the story that they want to tell, and they're going to go into the next season fresh.
I think that like at the end of the next episode, I feel like Mariner is gonna say like goodbye to her friends. She's gonna have the opportunity to see her friends again, and she's gonna say like goodbye to her friends, like I'm doing something else. And they won't leave us on a cliffhanger, but I feel like she'll be on another adventure, but we will see her again. Like that's what I think.
Yeah, that's what,
I like hearing your thoughts. We'll find out very soon in a few days. So it's very exciting. I can't wait to talk to you guys. Uh, you could check out our Twitter Spaces discussions at 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. We do it right after the episode. This week we're gonna do a live stream. I don't know how we're gonna figure it out. It might be like a late night live stream or something. So stay tuned. We'll figure out. We'll also do a YouTube live stream. So it's gonna be a lot of. I don't know if we could do it simultaneously. That might be an interesting, weird thing that we'll try. I don't know. It'll be like an experiment. But anyways, we'll be doing something. And then also, I just want to give a shout out. Speaking of Twitter Spaces, to Crusher Convo, so go check them out if you like Dr. Crusher. If you're a Bev head like I am, I'm going nuts. I'm super hype about Star Trek Picard, so I can't wait. And then Saturdays we discussed the animated series, and yesterday we did The Survivor, which is a really fun episode with the Vendorian character, which also there was one on Lower Decks, so you might want to go check that out. And Braxton, where can folks find you?
People can find me on Twitter at Leviathan027. It's been great to talk with you, Starfleet Boy. I have,
Likewise.
well, I mean, we've talked on the spaces, but
Yeah.
I've missed seeing your smiling face.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So you, Marcelo,
Ditto.
it was great to see you as well.
it's always a
Marcelo,
pleasure, Braxton.
speaking of which, where can folks find you and what's going on? What have you got to promote?
Yeah. Well, the easiest way to find out anything that I'm doing is on Twitter. I'm at CreekFanatic88. There you can find a link to all my social medias. But I recently did a stream that had some technical issues. I did a stream of one of my favorite Star Trek films ever, Generations.
It was
And
so
I
much
had
fun.
yeah. I had some technical issues, but I actually took care of those technical issues. And if you want to see that stream, which was so much fun, it's available on my channel now. It's the main video on the channel. So I urge you guys, for anyone who cares about anything I do, if you guys like hearing me talk Star Trek with my friends, go over there and have a good time. But it's
Very, very
it's
cool.
it's always a pleasure being here.
Well, folks, there's more fun ahead on Trek Central. So in just about in a couple of hours at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're gonna go live on the air. It'll be me, Father, and Dom. So come check us out.
Oh shoot, Dom is
Yeah,
back.
I know. I'm so excited. So come check us out on the live stream. Also, as Marcel said, it is Doctor Who Day, so I'm excited. I think it's already happened, whatever's going to happen. So I don't know if it's
Yeah,
right now or
yeah,
whatever,
and
but
yeah,
don't say anything.
yeah, in
Don't
the
give any
UK.
spoilers or anything like that. So don't say
No,
anything.
I haven't seen
All
it yet.
right.
I haven't seen
Okay,
it.
cool, cool. All right. Live long and prosper, guys, and we will see you next time. Thank you.